Hey everybody, some Gadget Guy here with another quick showdown fight for blood between the LG G Flex 2 and the LG G4. I've already produced a quick video showing the updates of the G4 over the G3, but this to me is probably the most interesting comparison in LG's lineup right now. And these two phones are now crazy similar in overall design, appearance, features, and performance to a degree. First of all, just looking at the phones dead on, I think most people would have difficulty telling these two devices apart. And almost exactly the same location for hardware like the earpiece, the front-facing cameras, and the LG logo at the bottom. It's only when we flip these phones over that we notice some subtle design deviations. Slight differences in the power button and volume rocker. I can't say I'm particularly a huge fan of glossy backplates. I think the G Flex 2 in red is a very attractive looking phone, but I don't think glossy will age well even with LG's attention to a self-healing backplate. They're kind of hard to show on camera, but I've already gotten a number of little nicks and scratches that I think over time, especially over the life of a 2-year contract, this probably won't age as well as the slightly more brushed finish on the G4 backplate. And if you have the G4 in leather, I think that will age even better, as leather just looks really cool once it starts to get aged and worn. Now, of course, one of the major differences between these two phones is the camera. The G Flex 2 is using the same 1/3 inch sensor paired with optical image stabilization that we saw on the LG G3. It makes it feel a little bit older in operation. The G4 steps us up to a 1/2 inch sensor, which is noticeably better for depth of field and bokeh blur. Those updates also extend into the camera app performance. The G Flex 2 maintains the same simple and auto mode that we found on the G3, but the G4 expands to a simple, auto, and a full manual mode, which gives us extreme controls over photography settings. This is absolutely a piece of software that I hope the G Flex 2 can eventually receive, even though we won't get the same advantage in terms of optics. I think having those controls over the camera settings would be a noticeable benefit to people shooting on the G Flex 2. On the whole, system and UI performance is very similar between these two phones. You're not really gonna notice a huge market difference in how these two devices handle very basic smartphone usage scenarios. Answering a text message, paging through your list of notifications. Though once both phones have been running for a little while, say you're playing a game or doing turn-by-turn navigation, you've had your screens on for a really long time, once the phones start running warm, the G4 is substantially smoother in hot performance. Now, one area where people might notice some differences between these two phones is in screen resolution and screen type. The G Flex 2 carries a 1080p OLED display, whereas the G4 carries a Quad HD LCD. If you've seen any of my other videos, you would know that I'm totally a sucker for OLED screens. But I gotta say, the improvements to IPS Quantum have actually helped in that this is a contrastier display than previous LCDs that I've seen put out by LG. Both phones have a curved display. The G4 on the bottom here, it's a subtle curve to the LCD, where the G Flex 2 on top features a more aggressive bend to its screen. It brings up one interesting discussion in terms of durability, in that the G Flex 2 is actually designed to bend, just like the original G Flex. It might be just a touch more resilient to any type of crushing action or flexing action if it's in your pocket and you wear really tight jeans, but I honestly don't know of a fair way to test the durability of both of these devices, and I refuse to engage in gadget destruction porn. You can peel off the back plates on both phones, add storage through a micro SD card. There is one last major difference between these two devices, in that the G4 you can remove the 3000 milliamp hour battery, whereas on the G Flex 2 it is built into the casing of the phone. If the phone flexes too much and you lose contact with the battery contacts, that might be a problem, so that could be one of the reasons why LG built it into the phone casing. I'm not entirely sure. If someone on my channel is a proper engineer with more insight on that, please drop me a comment down below. So here's where maybe we get into something a little bit of a bummer for the G Flex 2. I'm a really big fan of the G Flex experiment. I thought the original Flex started an awesome discussion in how we handle large screen phones, how we handle phablets, and a different type of conversation about how we can handle durability. And that discussion is still continued on the G Flex 2, but that's only one feature in light of all of the other minor improvements that we have on the G4. So I absolutely won't say that someone shouldn't side with the G Flex 2. There's a lot of cool factor going on with this aggressively curved display, but once it's available in your area, I just think the G4 offers up a better overall proposition for Android smartphone fans. And I still think LG's missing missing out on an opportunity here to diversify their product lineup. They're all starting to hone in on the same style and the same design, which is dangerous territory as we've seen other companies struggle with that brand identity like HTC. And moving the G Flex 2 to the smaller size leaves a gap in LG's lineup where they no longer have an ultra-large phablet-y device. For myself personally, I think it's cool because I'm not a huge fan of phablets, and I love that they're blurring the lines between phablet and flagship. But for folks out there who want that mini tablet phone experience, well, there's now a hole there. Now, I normally don't like giving conclusions or verdicts in any of my showdowns because I like hearing from you folks, and definitely drop me some comments down below. What is it that makes for an interesting flagship experience? Are our Android devices starting to get too similar? And what type of features would you like to see in upcoming smartphones that would help diversify the Android landscape? Drop me some comments down below because those are the kinds of conversations I love getting into. As always, folks, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit subscribe for more videos and comparisons like these, and I would not be able to continue producing on this channel if you all weren't out there sharing my videos on social sites like Facebook and Twitter and Reddit and the Googles Plus, so please keep bringing more cool people to the party. Hit that thumbs up button, and I will catch you all on the next review.